Hello friends, and once again we are back into the Drive Club. Now this time we're gonna do something interesting in terms of the comparison test. Now I want to compare two different brands in the same class and see which one is gonna be more powerful or more interesting to drive, or by how much they're gonna be faster on the track in terms of the times. Now I don't know which one I will choose, but I feel like we can choose something of a medium power, and let's just go ahead right away and choose the track that we're gonna be running them on. Now I like this Japanese track, especially this first stage of it out of three. This is a in my view, or my opinion, is the most technical, and I feel like I can really push the cars with each lap. And in terms of the laps, I feel like I can give each car up to 3 laps, and I will see by how much the tires and the cars will change throughout the laps. So let's just jump in right away and see what can we run them, what can we run against what. Now I really like to use the Aston Martin here. Now this is the faster version of the V12 Vantage, the regular version. Now this is Vantage S, V12S. Now this car has 565 brake horsepower and 457 pound-feet of torque, also 3,671 pounds of weight, which is pretty a lot for this type of vehicle. But because it has a V12 in front, that engine is very heavy, 6 liters, and a front mid engine. It's basically front engined and transmissions in the middle, so it's middle engined as well. It's front mid, that's why it's called so. And we're gonna compare it to a very interesting car as well, a faster version of the regular car as well. So this is the SLS AMG Coupe Black Series. Now this is the faster version of the SLS AMG car, and so same thing goes with this one. So this one is more powerful and weighs a little bit less than its original car. So this one's 622 brake horsepower and 467 pounds-feet of torque. Very good. A little bit more than the Aston, or you could say 100 more. That would be pretty much a lot more. If you think about it in terms of what they are, in terms of the weight, they are the same weight, almost the same weight, 3,700 pounds plus minus there here. But this car is more technical, more powerful, and much more interesting, I believe. So I would consider that Aston Martin would be an underdog in this competition, but we will see. We will jump into the Aston, and we'll see how good of a competition it will put up compared to the SLS AMG Black Series. So here we go, guys, and I'm gonna push this car and see by how much I will improve each lap. And that V12 really sings here. Now this car has 550 horsepower. Now that is very good, but it's underpowered a little bit compared to other vehicles in its class. But this car was taking its customers by the looks, by the feeling of the V12, and it had no basically artificial aspiration. It had naturally aspirated engine of V12, which was only available in high-end Ferraris and high-end Lamborghinis. Now this car had it in its smallest forms, in the Vantage form, and that was really cool because no one had the car with such an engine in such a small body. So that's why this car was interesting for the customers. But I just wish it had a little bit less weight, so it could incorporate, because of that, a lot of carbon fiber bits and pieces on the outside as well as on the inside. And the cabin is laid out with carbon fiber, but outside is lacking those carbon fiber pieces which could bring the weight down. Also, people complain about that transmission that this car had. Competition had much faster shifts and much stronger transmissions in terms of the power that it was having to handle. As far as I'm concerned, they were not the same compared to the V8 Vantage, but still the V12 I think is the same compared to the V12S. Now for the V12S, I think they could have improved the transmission a little bit more, and it would have really been a different car. And the transmission really makes a big difference when you take into consideration of how Ferraris with lower horsepower run with such fast cars with higher horsepower, just because of the transmission. And also the sedans, sometimes you get these powerful sedans having the fast transmission and they're just dominating. The best example would be RS6 with its fast shifting transmission from Audi. But I still prefer the sound of this thing, and it really shows how Aston Martin engineers really felt important for the customers to have this sound, even though V12 doesn't sound as good as the V8 in my opinion. You can hear it a little bit better here from the outside, as the camera being in the back. Not a bad car, but I feel it's gonna be slower than the SLS AMG Black Series because of the lack of the power. By having the same weight and not a quick transmission, it doesn't have so much of an edge when you consider the same weight and less power. Okay, let's give it one more lap, and then we're gonna jump into the SLS. I want you guys to compare the speed that we're gonna be carrying between each cars and on each corners, and I want you to see by how much each car sticks to the road, and which one is more compliant, which one is more stiff. and which one sounds better, you know. We're here not just comparing the lap time, we're also comparing the engineering of these vehicles and by how much they take their customers with what exactly they offer. So yeah, looks like we're not gonna be able to beat our past record, but we're able to compare it to the SLS. Now let's listen to the car a little bit here. Yeah, very powerful vehicle, but not as powerful as the SLS Black, I feel. I love those huge brakes. Okay, let's jump into SLS Black Series. Okay guys, so now we are in SLS Black Series. Now notice the transmission, like I was saying, in this car, and look how sticky this car is to the road. Now in terms of the tires, I'm not sure, but I feel like this is more technical, so it has a better tire. This is more track based vehicle. But what a wonderful cockpit sitting position as well. I really love this low sitting position where I feel like I'm really driving this car and I want to push it more and more and more. I love the steering wheel as well. It's a little bit better than the regular steering wheel for SLS AMG. It has red stitching and flat bottom. And I'm sure it's a little bit fatter than the actual original one. I love how very sensitive and precise the engine is on this thing. Now this thing has V8 engine and is producing 620 horsepower. Very good brakes as well. I feel like I can control the braking on this car very well. Once again, transmission is very good. As you can see there on the left speedometer, we have a sport mode engaged in this car. And exhaust, I would say, sounds a little bit better than the V12 Astons. But incredible ride nonetheless. You know, I really appreciate what the German engineers have done for this Mercedes-based SLS AMG Black Series. Really feels strong driving this thing and lugging around the corners. A beautiful car as well. I like that wing in back. And I just can't get enough of this sound. I love that sound. Very good acceleration, very powerful car. I didn't expect anything less out of 620 horsepower. Black Series cars always have been hardcore versions of the regular cars that they were based on. Very good examples are Ferrari Scuderia or Speciale. They are the hardcore versions of the regular cars, just like this one is. And I think this lap will be enough to see how quick this car is compared to the competition. Now 1 second faster compared to the Aston, as you can see there. 1:37, when with Aston we had 1:38. Alright guys, let's listen to this engine. Yeah, interesting looking car. I think wheels in the back are a little bit bigger than in the front. Yeah, powerful engine, very powerful engine. So there you go guys, we have the winner. I hope you enjoyed this versus race between Aston Martin V12 Vantage S and the SLS AMG Black Series car from Mercedes-Benz. I hope you liked how they both behaved, and I hope you had a little bit of a learning here of how they are compared to each other, and who's faster, who's better in braking, handling, or just the manner of driving on this laps that we took on this track. Beautiful Japanese iteration from Driveclub developers. Okay guys, I'll see you next time in the next video. This was GameFile.